Most guitarists try to practice 20 different things to get better at playing jazz, and that's why they find jazz so overwhelming, never have enough practice time, and always feel behind. But pro guitarists, well, they only practice 3 things. So in this video, I'm gonna show you what those 3 things are, why they're the ones that actually change how you sound, and how to use them to make faster progress without drowning in exercises. So let's look at why most guitarists make it harder than it needs to be, and what the ones who actually improve do differently. Because the difference is about one thing. Your goal when you practice isn't to get through exercises, it is to get better at playing music. Think of it like this: if you took lessons from a teacher asking to learn jazz and all he gave you as homework was Green Day songs, you'd fire that teacher immediately, right? And it's the same for you. If your goal is to play jazz, then you need to practice playing jazz. Now, obviously, when you start out, it is completely normal that you need to practice some exercises to build a foundation. There's just no way around that. But as soon as you can play real songs, you need to focus on making music, the few things that actually change how you sound. Now, what makes learning jazz hard is spending all your practice time on exercises that never turn into music. What makes it easy is knowing what to actually work on. Here's John Scofield's advice.
Just practice tunes, learn the tune, really learn the tune.
And he's right, playing music is the goal. The only way to do that is to play songs. Tennis players don't just do push-ups next to the court. And this is where you get stuck. Just working on endless exercises, practicing arpeggio patterns for days, or never going beyond soloing over a 2-5-1 loop. Now let's start with the loops. Maybe you're thinking, what's actually wrong with practicing a 2-5-1 loop? Here's the problem. A real song is not just a 2-5-1 progression. Take the opening of It Could Happen to You. E flat major 7, E diminished, F minor, F sharp diminished, E flat over G. Not a 2-5-1 inside, and the rest of the song has progressions just like this. Common ones you'll find everywhere, but only if you actually learn real songs. And there's another problem. A 2-5-1 always resolves, so every phrase kind of lands on this final sound. Take a listen. Now listen over a real song and notice how the phrases react to each other. One idea flows into the next and you can build a story in there. Now, practicing over a loop is like writing one paragraph over and over. You can make that paragraph great, but you'll never learn how to write a whole book. And if you're thinking, well, that's a very specific progression, I won't see that anywhere else, well, you will. Check out Ain't Misbehavin', Have You Met Miss Jones, or Slow Boat to China. You'll find this progression or a close variation in all of those songs. But knowing the progression is only a part of it. When it comes to exercises and arpeggios, there's one thing that most players underestimate, because being able to just play something doesn't mean that you can use it in a solo. Diorio once asked Wes Montgomery what he practiced.
Wes, what do you practice? I don't practice anything during the day that I don't use at night on the gig. I don't practice anything during the day that I don't use at night on the gig.
So it's not enough to just practice the arpeggios like this. You need to know how to really turn them into music. Something like this. The arpeggios are just the raw material. You can practice them for years and still not be able to use them in a solo. If you want to work on applying them to real songs, I made a free PDF with all these examples written out so that you can work through them away from the video. The link is in the description. But not every song is worth practicing. Pick the wrong ones and you waste a lot of time. Here's how to avoid that. I always loved this Peter Bernstein quote on learning jazz. Learn the songs and let the songs teach you how to play. But often I see students go from Take the A Train straight to Round Midnight or Confirmation, jump to songs that hard too early and you end up fighting the song instead of learning from it. Now, I once made a deal with a saxophone player to learn some skunk funk over the holidays, and we usually played Beautiful Love and Sad and Dull, so you can probably imagine how well that went. Now, when it comes to finding songs, there are 3 rules for beginners and 3 rules that apply at any level. Let's start with the beginner ones. Rule number 1, start with songs that have few chords and mostly diatonic harmonies. So think Perdido, Take the A Train, Mac the Knife, All of Me. Now the next 2 rules might surprise you a bit. So rule number 2, avoid minor key songs early on. They're harder to get into your ear and they involve more scales and analysis that you don't really need in the beginning. Rule number 3, avoid modal songs. They're less useful for building your solo skills step by step because in modal music, the chords are not really connected. Now, if you think I'm wrong about minor keys or modal songs, tell me why in the comments. Here are 3 rules that apply at any level. Rule number 1, the next song should look almost easy to you. If the key or tempo is challenging, the harmony should be simple and vice versa. Rule number 2, you should recognize 90% of the progressions immediately. If learning a new song feels like starting from scratch, it's the wrong song. Rule number 3, organize your repertoire into families, so major key standards, minor key standards, jazz blues, bossa nova, ballads. Make sure you're building across all of them, not just the ones that feel comfortable. But there's one thing that makes all of this actually work, and without it you're still just memorizing the hard way. The answer is chunks. Let's start with the chords. I showed you the chords for the first bars of It Could Happen to You. Knowing this set of chords makes it super easy, barely an inconvenience, to remember and play songs like Slow Boat to China and Ain't Misbehavin'. And that's how you use the songs that you know to learn new songs. And it's actually the same for melodies. Try to remember these notes. G, A, B flat, E flat, F, G, A, D, E flat, F, G, C, D, E, F sharp, B flat. That's not very musical and it's unbelievably difficult to remember, but if you think of it as a motif moving across the chords, then it's a lot easier. Thinking in phrases instead of notes helps you learn the melody a lot faster. Phrases have a logic that your ear can follow, and that's what helps you remember them. Now, if you're new to jazz and want my help learning the first standard and how to play solos that actually sound like jazz, then check out my Jazz Guitar Roadmap course. It's a step-by-step method for learning to play real jazz solos on an actual jazz standard. The link is in the description. Now, songs are where the music happens, but how do you actually improve the solos that you play on those songs? Do you practice soloing like this? You find a new lick, put on a backing track and try to force it into your solos, hoping that it magically fits and make you sound better. That almost never works, and it is not because the lick is bad. The problem is that you're trying to learn something new while at the same time keeping track of the chord changes, the groove and the form of the song. It's like deciding to learn to juggle, but you start with knives, not something simple like apples. You want to make it easy. So there's a better way to work. The better way is to compose lines. So here's why that works. When you compose lines away from a backing track, you only have one job, making the new material sound good. You're not keeping track of the changes, the groove and the form at the same time. You can focus entirely on getting the new thing to work with the rest of your vocabulary. And that is when it actually gets into your playing. Let me show you how this works. Here's a short C major 7 phrase. Now the easiest way to get this to work is to use very short phrases, like 4 to 6 notes. They make better building blocks. The main character here, I think, is that descending E minor triad with the leading note. So let's just use that. And listen to how that connects to an enclosure and 2 C major 7 chord tones. Octave displacement and a chromatic run also fits perfectly. Another option would be to lead into the phrase instead of out of it. So here's a C major 7 triplet arpeggio that's sort of morphing into that triad. Or a descending E minor 7 triplet arpeggio. The free PDF has all of these examples written out so that you can work through them away from the video at your own pace. You can grab it by scanning the QR code on screen or use the link in the description. Now focus on these 3 things and you will make more progress than most guitarists who practice twice as much. Practice playing songs, not loops, not exercises. Songs are where the music actually happens. Practice the right songs so they should be easy to learn and you want to use what you know to build what you don't. Build your vocabulary, but do it by composing licks, not collecting them. That's how new material actually gets into your playing. That's it, 3 things. Everything else can wait. If you want to see how pros like Wes Montgomery approach the daily practice routine, then check out this video. It shows you exactly how to get more out of arpeggios the way the pros approach it. Check it out, learn jazz, make music.